Guys, what's going on? Somer Del Piso back once again with yet another video. Today, we are going to talk about semen retention for sure. Stay tuned for that. But we're going to connect it with one of my favorite shows ever. Not the most favorite, but definitely on my list of top 5. So the show in question that we're going to talk about today is going to be Black Mirror. For the guys that don't know what this show is, the show was incepted, right? It came about for the first shot as pilot. Well, not shot as pilot, but revealed its pilot in 2011. The first episode, if I could remember that pilot, was about the Prime Minister trying to find all these roundabout ways of refusing this threat of violence if the Prime Minister didn't film himself copulating with a member of the swine species, right? So we're gonna analyze one of my favorite episodes from the 5th season of this show, and we're going to connect it to semen retention because it is incredibly important. I think that, first of all, like, comment, subscribe, right? That's the most important. And let's carry on. I think that season 5 was one of the seasons that were overlooked. We're not talking about whether the 5th season was the beginning of the downfall of the show Black Mirror. That's not part of the video. We're not going to talk about that. In this season of the episode with Miley Cyrus, which wasn't good at all. The episode with the actor that played Moriarty in the BBC Sherlock series, which was okay, right? It had like a very good overall message on technology and its imprisoning effects on the people of the world. Very, very good stuff. But none of it is as good as this episode with Yahya Abdul-Mateen II or third, I can't remember that number for the life of me, and Anthony Mackie's episode. The episode is called Striking Vipers. Very powerful game, of course, very powerful episode, sorry. It is a take on, I think it's supposed to like mimic Street Fighter V. I think Street Fighter V came out around that time. I forget, I don't know the intrinsics. But most importantly, the episode was talking about what's up? Man, there's a lot of Colombia fans out here, man. Let's do it. We begin the episode in the past when Anthony Mackie is meeting up with his girlfriend in a club, and they have this little thing that they do with each other where they pretend that they don't know each other, and then they flirt with each other, and then they get with each other, and then, you know, they do what they do, right? Young people and their expressions of physical love and adoration. You can never get enough of it on TV. That's just the way this place works. They do that. We also enter in Yahya Abdul-Mateen's character, which is like this young guy. He likes, he likes talking to a lot of girls and all that funny stuff. So they all go to Anthony Mackie's house, and then they're, instead of Anthony making sweet love to his girlfriend, he decides to go play some fighting video game with his friend Yahya Abdul. So they're playing in the in the living room. They're having a lot of fun, making a lot of noise. The girlfriend at the time, because she becomes a wife later, she's a little annoyed, but she understands that that's what Anthony likes. This is what makes him very, very happy in addition to being with her. So she allows it. Fast forward. It is a barbecue. Anthony Mackie has a knee problem. He is a little disheartened and just sort of nonplussed about the things and the family interactions in this barbecue. People are saying hi to him. I think his wife, which was his girlfriend in that past scene, introduces him to this girl, this friend of hers, and then the girl shows him, Anthony Mackie, her son, and Anthony doesn't really care. You can tell that he's just not bothered by it whatsoever. So then the party moves on, the barbecue moves on. Yahya Abdul-Mateen knocks on the door, he enters in, yo, what's up, Anthony, what's going on? Listen, I got a present for you. Boom, the fighting game that we used to play, but except we could hook up, instead of having the controllers in our hands, we could hook up like some sort of cookie, which if you guys are fans of the Black Mirror series, we understand how that works. It's basically a neural link connection to this device, and your mind is able to sort of get transferred to whatever thing you're doing. Of course, if you watch the series, you understand that cookies were used in some sort of nefarious, bad way, right, in the past episodes of Black Mirror. So once the fans see that, we already know something bad is going to happen with the episode. But we continue because we're always so curious, because Black Mirror is very, very good at showcasing technological advancements and innovations that could occur, and the problems of those innovations and advancements that could occur with in 5 or 10 or 15 years in a very near future. So anyway, he puts the cookie on. They're about to have a test go. The wife says, listen, just do it later and whatever. So they carry on. Night comes about. And then he gets a call from Yahya Abdul-Mateen, right? And says, listen, let's play this video game. They play the video game, he hooks up the cookie onto his head, and his mind is transferred to the character that he's playing in this new fighting game. His knee problem that I alluded to in the beginning of the video-ish. He didn't have it any longer. He feels like a new man. So they're playing the game a little. Obviously, Yahya Abdul has much more experience. He's beating the crap out of Anthony Mackie's character. What happens next is the craziest puzzling part, and this is going into the meat, bones, into the singularity point of the black hole that is this season's episode of Black Mirror. Yahya Abdul's character goes in to kiss Anthony Mackie's character, and then he allows it. Anthony Mackie's playing as a guy. I think Yahya Abdul-Mateen's character is playing as a woman, right? But it doesn't matter because it's a male controlling the character and a male controlling his respective avatar, kissing each other. What the heck? What the heck is going on? We then find out that Yahya done this before with other players in this game, and he just thought that it would just be a very, very interesting connection. Oh no, we actually don't learn that. We learn that Yahya, I don't know, he just felt like wanting to do it, and then he just decided to do it with Anthony Mackie, just kiss his character. So it happens. Anthony logs off. He didn't talk to Yahya for a while because he's sort of thinking, I can't believe it, my best friend for decades. He's gay. He always liked me. He knows I have a wife. He knows that I'm not interested in men. Has he always been interested in me? Like he sort of challenges the foundations of his friendship with Yahya Abdul-Mateen. Nights pass. Yahya sends him a message and says, listen, let's just talk. Let's get on the game. They get on the game again. Anthony gets on the game. They have a talk, and then they start kissing again. What the heck is going on? Anthony doesn't immediately sign off, but Yahya sort of tempts him. It's sort of like an evil contemporary serpent from the book of Genesis. Listen, I know it feels good to you too. You cannot say that the first time we did this in the game, you didn't enjoy it. It feels good. I'm not gay. I like women, but I just feel like doing this with you. It's not cheating either because it's a video game, right? What are the connections to that, guys? What are the connections? We're going to talk about it soon. So we see a little montage of Anthony Mackie and Yahya Abdul-Mateen meeting up in this game, even sleeping with each other. They're fornicating in the video game. It's crazy. And of course, it's a video game. There's no parameters really. So you can just splurge and splurge and splurge and splurge and splurge, and without penalty, without any physical bodily penalties. During this montage, we're seeing Anthony Mackie's relationship with his wife deteriorating. His wife wants to sleep with him. His wife is constantly, you see scenes of her outside being tempted to cheat with other men. But she's devoted to the relationship. She's committed to the relationship. She continues trying to develop that intimacy with her husband. Anthony is not having it. Anthony's not having it. He is enjoying the sexual pleasure he is getting from sleeping with the avatar of his friend in the video game. The long and tall and short is that they end up taking a big break from each other, Yahya and Anthony, because he gets a strike of moral conscience. He's like, this is completely wrong. I am cheating on my wife. My wife is completely dissatisfied with the relationship, and I need to make it better. I'm not going to play this video game anymore. So what ends up happening, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, he is so desperate to have sex, to have this physical pleasure, that he goes to his house. He invites himself to the house weeks later, and then he's like, listen, I'm so happy to see Anthony again. I haven't seen him since the barbecue, this and that, even though they've been talking to each other on the game all night, right? Every night. When the wife leaves the room to get the dessert, he's like, please, I need you to get back on the game. It's just not the same. I've been trying to sleep with these other guys online. It's just not the same. We have a connection because we're friends. We need to do this. We need to do this again. And Anthony's like, no, I love my wife. And he's like, I'm going to be on tonight. You either be there or you're not there, but I need you, right? Wife comes in. It was a crazy scene because they just look completely awkward and completely defenseless, right? Yahya Abdul-Mateen, he leaves, and then Anthony Mackie gets on the game, Yahya gets on the game, and then they do the deed once again, and then Anthony questions, when does this end? There has to be something wrong about this. I have to see if I'm truly gay because I'm really enjoying this. They go out in real life, they meet each other. It's some very, very cinematic, sorrowful scene of them meeting up in the rain, right? And then they try to kiss each other. they're just not comfortable. They end up fighting. They go into a hospital. This guy goes into a hospital. The wife comes. The wife is now made abreast of the entire situation that led to the fallout between the two alleged best friends. What happens at the end of the episode? The conclusion is filled with an allotment of time every year for Anthony Mackie to get on the game with his best friend and to sleep with his friend. This his friend's avatar. For the wife goes out and sleeps, and she's not married. She goes and she gets to sleep with whatever guy she meets that night, and then they carry on with the rest of their lives in the remaining 364 days of the year as if nothing happened. That is the end of the episode summary of Striking Vipers, Black Mirror season 5. What does that have to do with semen retention? Right now we're going to talk about it because this has a lot of implications of the problems with pornography. This episode was actually genius. It was actually very, very well written and very, very well acted by the actor. Who Yaya is, right? He represented some sort of tempter, some temptress. He's like the devil. He was like the serpent. All he was interested in was physical pleasure. Of course, even though he wasn't in a relationship for the duration of the episode, he was basically trying to tempt his friend to consistently get him on the video game, to continuously sleep with him, right? Because he just wanted to fulfill that pleasure, which is what all souls in this place chase. Anthony was an individual that represents the normal man, the normal boy, the young male that falls upon pornography, and without the right guidance and because of the doctrines of the modern world, right, which is sort of signified by the conclusion of the episode, where the wife has a day in the year where she just takes off her wedding ring and sleeps with other men. Doctrines of the modern world that push polyamory, polygamous relationships, which is just bollocks. If you're married and you have an open relationship, why are you wasting your time? Why are you wasting your money? And why are you wasting effort? Just don't get married and then just do your heathenism, right? On your own. Don't bring someone else into it. But of course, we, as modern men, we lack that oomph and that dignity and that integrity to stand alone and to actually communicate what you will and will not have. Anthony was swept and sliced by the doctrines of the modern world, and he accepted the modern world's input on how relationships should be treated, especially when it reaches a dynamic as such. What does that mean for us? First of all, this episode beautifully highlights the issues with pornography. It wasn't like flat out him watching, a video and then just doing his deed and splurging and all that stuff. He was getting the same rocks off. This is like the advanced version of pornography, which is coming, by the way, which is coming. It is gonna come soon. The type of pornography where a man could indulge and release, ejaculate, and without any physical penalty. The only thing is a desensitization from his brain. He could in his brain feel the feeling of orgasm in an infinite number of times. And of course, the brain is completely getting overloaded with dopamine, that dark justification as to why they shouldn't get into a relationship, and most harmfully, why they shouldn't even consider semen retention. Because there's a thing out there that allows me to get off however many times I want, and I can still operate because I still maintain my sperm. That is the problem, and this is what this episode was trying to communicate to us. There was a lot of people on this game that Yaya was telling Anthony about that partook in this kind of thing. Even though the game was a fighting game, because there was the cookie that was hooked, that was a neural link to all the the brain sensation centers and just the brain in general. They were just using the game not for its intended purpose, but to just indulge, to be licentious. What this episode of Black Mirror also teaches us is that we need to be careful of the advice that we're receiving that is seemingly good advice, that is seemingly uplifting advice, but in reality, it is destructive to the soul, destructive to the spirit, and destructive to self-discipline. You see, Anthony Mackie, unfortunate for him, in that little Kafkan world, right? of Black Mirror, he had no guidance, no proper guidance. Of course, he was led by his conscience to consistently stay with his wife and just service her to the best way possible. But at the end, he succumbed to the wiles of the modern world. And of course, he could not put away his temptation. He truly did not triumph over it or in the end, because he is still doing a day a year to indulge completely. And of course, the wife wants her fill too. So she does what she does, which is just sleeping with men in reality once a year. This is the huge problem with the foresight of the writers of Black Mirror, and just the problem with this world. This type of pornography is coming. Gentlemen, I'm telling you, whether you get on semen retention, whether or not you decide to implement self-discipline, this is coming. This type of pornography will arrive soon. And if you do not hold yourself accountable, if you do not hold yourself in control, you will be swept by this wave. This world will tell you many things. This world will try to convince you of many atrocities to the body. They'll pass it off as something good, something comfortable, something necessarily therapeutic, right? Cathartic. Everyone needs to do this. But in the end, it is just darkness. It will cast you into the shadows that the majority of this world leads by. There are people that come in the banner of the Lord. There are people that come in the name of Krishna. This episode of Black Mirror taught us that we need to stay vigilant of the very sophisticated dark forces that tend to seek to separate us, to put disparity and to put separation between us and our loved ones. Imagine a life, right? Even like me, I'm on semen retention. I'm not about relationships. Of course, I preach in this channel that as men in this fallen world, we should not be seeking relationships. We should not be seeking procreation. Rather, we should seek trying to harness the power of creativity through the self-disciplinary measures implemented on the physical self to be able to receive inspiration from the higher worlds and then bring that inspiration in the form of policies, in the form of creative projects, so on and so forth. I am a proponent of that. If you are not, rather you think that you should have a relationship, you should be married, you should have kids. Imagine having to settle for a relationship like that, where you now have to allow your wife to sleep with someone randomly, right? Once a year. Because you can't control yourself. You can't stay off this super new video game that basically touches and caresses your pleasure centers of your brain so much where you can't see sex normally, regular sex as a normal way. What that shows us is that this guy is yet another victim of the new waves of indoctrination of the modern world. We seek pleasure first. He sought it so much, he values it so much in his relationship that he is allowing his wife to sleep with whoever she wants to sleep with once a year, just so he can do the same in the video game. Now thinking about it, this is crazy. This is actually insane. Closing statement, because I'm getting a little cyclical here. Us men need to be ever vigilant of the innovations of the modern world that are not teaching us discipline, that is not teaching us self-control, that is not teaching us that less is more. You need to understand that program, that initiative, that game, that way of expressing your sexuality that was in that episode of Black Mirror that, by the way, came out many years ago, is coming soon. We already have forms of it now. We have people that could replace girlfriends with dolls, right? Robotic sex dolls. We have AI girlfriends, right? To supplement the lack of confidence and the lack of interaction in Japan with the hikikomori culture, right? These are just some of the many things that are happening. Dating apps, here in the US and in the Western worlds and societies, they're skewed in favor of women. If you are on a dating app, you are wasting your time. If you think that you can go on a dating app and find a legitimate relationship, you are wasting your time. It is only a minority of men that actually get a relationship by relationship standards, which are just a combination or just an interaction between the male and female. Modern world's innovations are imprisoning us all. And as men, we must see these things coming from afar, from a distance, and slice it away at the source. My advice is stay on semen retention. If you're not on semen retention, get on semen retention. Obtain not only the faculty of critical thinking and creativity, but vision. Viveka, which is what the Hindus call it. It's I think that's part of the Eightfold Path of Buddha as well. You have to be able to ascertain what is bad for the soul and spirit, no matter in what form that it comes to you in. That's what we must do. Self-discipline, gentlemen, semen retention for the win. And that is all I have to say today. If you like that content, like, comment, subscribe, share the video with some peers as per usual. Don't ever let this place get you down. This place, no matter how innocent it seems, no matter how nice or how supposedly helpful it seems, and how innovative and how many quality of life improvements that this system makes, trust me, the quality of life improvements are only stifling us in the long run. We are doing away with the need to actually understand words and understand other languages and understand people and understand new concepts. We are really realizing that we don't need to have interactions with people. Rather, we can just go online and have our interactions there. We can splurge, right, and have relationships with our hands, right? We can masturbate. We don't have to have girlfriends. We don't have to have any intimate relationships. And I'm here to tell you that these are all lies. These are all part of the luxuries that is afforded to us in this innovative first world society. What needs to be done, gentlemen, semen retention. And this world can never touch you. And always stay radiant. I shall see you guys in the next video. Woo!